Okay, so you just finished a movie, you loved it, and now you want to make a poster. Or you're just getting started at Adobe Illustrator and you want to try your hand at making a poster. Regardless of why you want to make a poster, you're here now, and that's exactly what we're about to do. So let's hop into it. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Michael. I'm a graphic designer from Atlanta, Georgia. I've been creative my whole life and I've dabbled in design here and there. And now I'm trying to teach you guys how to get better at design. Like I said earlier, we're going to be learning how to make a movie poster today. My goal for this video is just to give you guys a very macro look at what it takes to make a poster. We're not going to really get into the nitty-gritty of, what tools you should use or specifics like that. If you guys want to ask me any questions about this design or any other design or creative thing, feel free to stop by my Twitch. That's definitely a place to have your questions answered. Also, if anything in this video you guys find helpful or useful, please hit the like and subscribe button. It really does help me out and I appreciate it. All right, guys, let's make a poster. Okay, so here we are in Adobe Illustrator. I'm using Illustrator just because I have a student code and it's really inexpensive for me. If you guys are looking for a cheaper software, then I recommend Affinity products. So Affinity Design, Affinity Photo, and I think they just came out with an InDesign replacement as well, but I'll link that stuff below for you guys. But for Illustrator, that's what we're working with today. That's where we're making stuff. So let's do this thing. To start out, I'm just creating a new document. Usually when I'm making posters, I like to do 11 by 17. It's super easy to print out and just like a good size proportion wise overall. Another tip is if you guys are going to be printing this out, make sure to use like CMYK coloring. That's the best for printing, but if it's going to live online, then I definitely recommend using RGB. So first things first, I always like to do research. I just like to hop in and try to find posters that I like and design examples that I can go off of. So you'll see here, I'm just kind of looking up movie posters, and then I start looking into Tron, which is the movie that I'm going to be making today, or the movie that I'm going to be referencing today. Also, I like to look through a bunch of older movie posters, or just different styles, really. So you can look up like classic movie posters, modern movie posters, just get some different things to work with and to look at. Right here, I really like this speed one with the skeleton motorcycle rider. So I think it would transfer really well over to the Tron world, especially with like the light bikes and everything like that. Typically, I just screenshot these and throw them right into my Illustrator. That way I can reference them throughout the project. So right now I'm trying to find some cleaner and more minimal examples to throw in as well. Okay, so now I'm diving a little more into the source material. I'm just looking at like kind of these like glowing lines, the neon kind of feel that they have going on in the Tron movies, or movie rather. But I just want to find a way to bring in that glow and kind of that cool neon vibe that they have going on. With whatever movie you choose, just find like some prominent things that stick out to you or that are really important in the movie and try to bring them into the design any way that you can. So right here, I'm kind of playing with lines. I'm trying to recreate those same lines on the speed poster. I end up not going with this just because I don't like how cluttered that it feels once I finish this. But you just want to play with whatever like designs that you found or examples that you found and tweak and change them, and then it'll lead you to new ideas sometimes. And that's exactly what happens here. So right here, I'm deciding I don't really like these lines. They're just not very clean. So let's try to copy the ones on the poster. And this I do want to touch on is like, if you guys see a certain piece of a poster that you like, it's okay to mimic those things. You just don't want to directly steal like the poster itself. So like using these speed lines on a new poster is okay. That's fine. If you're taking an element from a poster and using that in your own work, I personally don't count that as stealing. I think taking elements and pieces from different things and putting them together to make a new design is unique and new and not stealing, like I said before. With that said though, I do think it's important to note that you shouldn't be copying people's things directly or just ripping their designs. Really try to make them your own and make them unique if you can. How I do this here is that even though I'm using these lines from that poster, I'm changing them with a glow effect or trying to bring, a new twist on them that wasn't in that other poster that we found. Okay, so right here, I'm kind of figuring out, I don't really like these lines. I think I'm gonna go with a much cleaner and simpler design. So here I chose to do one single glowing line right down the middle, and I'm gonna have a light bike or the motorcycles that they use in the movie right at the top of that. Now, for those of you who are wondering, if you do want to achieve this same neon effect, I'll leave a link below to the exact webpage I used to create it. But essentially all you're doing is you're making a background layer that has a Gaussian blur on it, and then you're doing 2 layers on top of that. One in the middle that's a little bit lighter than the background layer, and then one on the top that's very bright. And it creates this neonish feel. Okay, so right here I'm just trying to get some reference images for the light bike, and I really wanted to find an over-the-top shot, which I did end up finding, but basically we're gonna crop that down and we're gonna try to recreate that bike using simple shapes. So right now I'm just using shape tools as well as the pen tool to kind of trace around the main parts of the bike and just get the shape correct. The bike itself is going to be really small, so you're not going to need a whole lot of detail. And keep this in mind when you're working with your own designs. If you guys are using really small things, don't waste a bunch of time on trying to get them exactly like perfect. Even for me, this can be really tough because I always try to get things just right, always tweaking, always adjusting. Sometimes it's honestly too much. Basically, I just don't want you guys to spend, 4 to 5 hours on a poster just tweaking tiny little things here and there when really it should only take you 1 to 2 hours. Like, try to be efficient and do the best you can. It's okay to go back and make iterations if you want to. It's okay to take 4 hours if this is your first time. Just don't waste time focusing on details that don't matter. Okay, so after some of the basic shapes are down, I'm tracing out the rider himself with the pen tool. And all you have to do is just follow the outside lines. And a quick tip for you guys, if you want to make sure your guy is symmetrical, put a box cutting the subject in half. Like for us, it's the rider. So cut him in half down the middle and then only trace one side. And then what you're able to do is flip that side to the other, and then you can match them up perfectly. My girlfriend actually showed me how to do this, so I can't take full credit. She's a design student, but she killed it and she really helped with this part of the project. So this last part, me and my girlfriend actually finished together. So right here, we are putting on some gradient backgrounds, testing different things, just trying to get a little bit of separation from the subject and the background. And this is something that you guys can use to improve any of your designs. Just make sure there's contrast and separation between things that you really want noticed versus things that are, in this case, literally the background. Again, we're just trying to create some more separation for the light bike and the rider themselves, just to make them pop a little bit more. So finally, now we're looking for a font that we think would complement this well. If you guys go on Behance, you're able to look up free fonts and find just different ones for free. You can also just look this up online, search free fonts, and basically just test and try different things that you feel fit with the movie that you chose. Basically, we ended up on this super futuristic and electronic looking font. Looks pretty cool. But to keep it clean, we just put Tron right at the top. And you can play around with different positionings and whatnot and try to get it perfect. Again, this is just a very zoomed out macro look at what it takes to make a poster. At the end, we just kind of played around with where the bike was coming onto the screen, what direction he was tilted. Also, we played around with where the title was on the screen. Basically just tweaking things here and there to our liking. At the end, we landed on this really clean design. We had the biker going straight up the middle with that neon line really popping and making the poster. We have a very subtle gradient that's separating the light trail and the biker from the background. And then we have the really clean and simple title right at the top. Okay, so hopefully that gave you an idea of what it takes to make a poster, just kind of the overview of it. If you guys want this poster, I'm gonna link it in the description below. Feel free to download it, feel free to play with it, feel free to use it wherever you want. It's totally free for you guys. Again, if you wanna ask really specific questions about design or creating or anything, definitely stop by the Twitch. We would love to see you over there. Another great place for asking questions, or if you just wanna stay up to date with what's going on, the Discord is also really awesome for that. Guys, please leave any feedback you have down below, and thank you guys so much for watching, and go be creative. Bye. I'm gonna try sitting down so you guys can actually see me. Oh, it's really hard. I have a light shining in my eye. Ah! Dude, I love it. I wish I could juggle like bowling pins or something.